Welcome, everybody, to this week's show. This is episode 265 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. And this week we have got Matthew Yuga from Matt's Cards. Matt, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, Russ. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, life is treating me very well. I'm not going to lie to you. People have been asking this lately, and I've just got nothing to complain about. Normally, I enjoy a good whinge, but I literally have nothing. Kids are good. The wife is good. Work is going pretty well. So, yeah, honestly. However, this is not about me. This episode is all about Matthew. So, Matt, please introduce yourself. Tell us what your sort of general things, the projects that you work on, and feel free to drop, anything commercially too, man. It's totally fine to sell yourself. It's fine.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thank you, Russ. I think this is the third or the fourth time. It's been a couple of years, I think, in between. I know we're always trying to work out our schedules between each other, but obviously your podcast has grown massively, which is incredible. You're doing incredible things down here in Australia. I mean, we need content, sports card content, especially down here in Australia. We're really lacking it, but I guess that's kind of like the void of what I was, trying to fill. Maybe about 5-6 years ago was I've been in cards for a long time. Maybe not as into it as what I am now as a business now, but I think I saw that void 4 to 5 years ago with how big our market is down here in Australia, and for the lack of content creators that we do have. As you get my day in the life post up on the right ready, but just saw that void and started creating content about 5 years ago. Grown enough through that on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and it's quite funny. I'm not really the most public person generally, so kind of taking a step outside of my comfort zone, posting on YouTube. Like, again, when people meet me for the first time, they might think I'm like this massive extrovert, or I just love attention. I really am not like that at all, but it's really kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone. And then trying to.
Can I interrupt you just for 2 seconds there?
Yeah.
So I think one thing about your content that I think is similar to us is that we're not doing things just that focus on the negative of the hobby. We're actually trying to talk about things from you can say an educational point of view or a more perhaps objective point of view. Because I think like what you're saying about there's a void in the hobby, I think there is a void for creative content that's positive. What we have heaps of is all this negative, clickbait stuff. So I think that's the only thing I'd just sort of add to what you're saying there is I think that's where we sort of align in some ways. And I think there is a real lack of, I don't even know how to describe your content and how it's similar to us, but maybe thoughtful content.
I don't know how to describe it either, honestly.
Because it's easy just to highlight all the shit stuff that happens in the hobby. I actually find that almost like it's not asinine, but it clicks really well. It clicks like crazy, but it's also it's easy too. I think it's harder to do the stuff that you do, and you put a lot of thought into it. So yeah,
it is hard. Yeah, I know. When I do anything negative on a thumbnail or on a title, that's what gets me views. I literally, my last video on YouTube was I spent $1,000 on a table at a card show. Was it worth it? And I've got a picture of me on the thumbnail looking sad with minus $1,000, and it's gone relatively viral to my channel. And anything negative on YouTube does well. I understand that.
So
but yeah,
do you practice those poses before you take the picture, like holding your face and stuff? Because those are Mr. Beast does it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the art of the thumbnail, really. So, I mean, when you're learning YouTube, Russ, you're gonna have to incorporate it into your thumbnails eventually. But when
I haven't bent on that yet. I'm not too sure I'm ready to do it. Even wearing the hat backwards, I'm still I don't know if I can go online with a hat on backwards.
I think you got it at the start, definitely when I was doing a lot of my, even just the vlogs in person, I was just hating everything, and I still really, really struggle with it. The camera I use a DJI. It's very small. I don't know if it's not here, but it's a very small camera. I don't like having those flashy sort of setups. So even when I get my wife to take a picture of me for my thumbnails and stuff, I do it before the show starts. No one can really see me, and the camera I use is tiny. So it almost, if I'm recording with it, you wouldn't even be able to tell. It's almost like I'm on a FaceTime almost. Yeah. So yeah, it's it is tough. Like it's what sells on YouTube. Unfortunately, it's not the sort of person I am as well because
Yeah.
cards has always been nothing but positive for me,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the reason why I want to kind of influence the younger generation into getting into the hobby because it does give
Yeah.
us life skills and positivity and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's trying to find that balance where
Yeah.
you're talking about positivity and promoting it.
I couldn't agree more. I've gotten back so much more from the hobby than I've given to it, and I try to, give back in some way. And yeah, I could not agree with you more on that point. So just drop your YouTube channel because it's everyone who's listening to this either will be following it already or should be following it. Yeah.
Yeah, my YouTube's Matt's Card Shop, and then I have a case business as well called Matt's
Talk
Card
to us
Case.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so again, like a few years ago, I'll be quite frank and honest. Like YouTube, it doesn't pay much. I've got just under 6,000 subscribers. People always talk about, oh, is this your full-time job? It's like, no, the YouTube content was a creative outlet for me personally, and I've always wanted to do it ever since I was a young kid. But having that outlet and eventually getting monetized on it was incredible. But yeah, again, for the amount of work that you do on it, it's a lot of unpaid work and attention. And look, I do get a lot of related stuff to it, like people want to deal with me because they watch the channel, or they want to do a deal with me specifically. So I was trying to work out, how's a way I can monetize it ethically as well. People they go into, I don't know, repacks or breaking. I mean, not that that's not ethical or anything like that, but I was trying to find out a good way for myself personally. And I did see a need in Australia just for cases in general, because I know personally, I was trying to find a case and I found it was super expensive to get it from the States. And then I actually remember like my first batch of cases I ordered, I actually thought about when I ordered it, I was actually just going to get it in and just sell it for like break even. But then I just looked at how long it would take me to actually ship it all out. And I was like, holy moly, like that is just not worth it. So I was like, you know what, let's just start a case business and then we'll build it from there. Like with cards and cases, it's obviously slightly different in terms of the logistics and everything like that. But it's definitely been enjoyable to kind of build that up as well. Like, yes, it does carry over from the Matt's Card Shop name, but I've found I've kind of had to step away from the Matt's Card Shop brand a little bit and not rely on it too much because, it crosses over a little bit, but it's got to kind of be its own brand without having too much influence from what I've currently built.
Yeah. I think in the hobby, there's lots of opportunities to make money. And I think one way you can do it is exactly what you did. You saw a void in the hobby and you filled that really well. And the other obvious one to talk about here is Palms Off Gaming, where like really before Palms Off stepped into the Australian market, we had Ultra Pro sleeves, and then you'd have to buy your own folder from Officeworks or Kmart or whatever, and then just put them into that. And then people would have their top loaders and sort of put them into like a box they bought from Woolies or from Big W, or they fashioned it themselves out of a cardboard box like that. Was literally where the market was. So I think what they did, and then to touch on what you've done too, is I think it's so clever and fantastic what you did. So do you want to tell us about the process that you went to into just like really quickly sort of designing the box, getting them prototyped, and then getting it done to scale and getting it out? Because I mean, the other one to talk about here too is GTI. So if you're familiar with their products, he literally was like, okay, we've got these one touches that actually damage the cards. I know I can do better. I'm going to fill this void and get out there and have a go. And I think his products are great. I've got one of your card boxes personally. So yeah, I want to definitely hear more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the start I came out like with the generic sort of, the cases that most people are coming out with no display. And yeah, look, like they did well, but I felt like there was no kind of real way to stand out. And then this is again, like when you're starting a business, you obviously make some mistakes, but the first couple of batches that I had made, they just weren't at the quality or the standard that I wanted them at. Like there were a few that were fine and a few that weren't. And I think it was just really getting it down to, again, if I want to have my brand initially started associated with this, I had to make sure that, if I'm going to actually sell something, it's got to be reputable and everything like that. So,
and you want it to last too. That's the thing. There's nothing worse than buying something and then 12 months later it's going to be replaced. Like I hate that so much at the moment with the way things are produced. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. And even like the case that you can see in the picture as well. There, like I've had that one for a couple of years and holding up very well. I've had the business now for about 3 years, and I have a lot of repeat customers, which is like been the best thing about the whole thing is like people coming back after a year, coming back to a show and everything like that. Like, oh, this is my fifth or my sixth case. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like even in Sydney, like I had someone buy like their seventh and eighth case, like, and I had never met them in person. It was obviously a lot of online stuff, and I recognized them from like the Shopify name and everything like that. So obviously, as we kind of started and everything like that, like we had to, listen to our collectors that buy from us. So, we started including like the one-touch display foam, and even with that sort of stuff, like so you've got the PSA foam there, you've got like a one-touch display that people were asking for. Adding stuff in like an air tag compartment, widening our slots internally so they can fit like your slab mags now, because people nowadays are just so like they're loving the slab mags. I know it's more of a Pokemon thing, but I've seen a lot more sports card collectors get into it. It's slightly wider, so having to cater to those sorts of people as well has been something that I've always tried to take on board. But yeah, with a young business, like it's everything's kind of fresh for me. So any sort of feedback that I get on it in terms of improving it and everything like that has always been taken on. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it in terms of the cases. It's like, it isn't all just my ideas. It's a collection of other people's ideas that have been given to me over the last years.
Yeah. All right. Talk to us about attending shows. What's your philosophies around turning up to shows, buying and selling cards? Because that's the other way I've seen you. And then the other thing to tap into here is how you make content from your card shows. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Look, this year, I definitely wanted to make a goal of going to as many card shows as I can this year. Coming back from America late last year, I went to the Dallas Card Show in November, and that just really motivated me to, I still work a full-time job outside of cards, but to really try to balance that out a bit more and put some more time to cards, and hopefully, make this passion more of a full-time job for me personally. And I think the best way for me to scale that up is to go to more card shows. So, I wrote down a list of the card shows that I wanted to hit up at the start of this year. I think something that I really wanted to do as well was set up at an interstate card show, which was our first one last week at Collect Fest Sydney, but we've also got the summit coming up. We've got the SA card show, and then I've got another one lined up for Brisbane later in the year. So, the shows are great. Obviously, with Melbourne, we have a lot of shows, but it's great to network with people, because people, they might follow the YouTube channel, Instagram, or, they might be in the Facebook groups and all that sort of stuff. But a lot of people that aren't in that sort of stuff, and they come to the shows and they don't recognize any of the sellers. So it's trying to connect with new people that I've never dealt with before. And then with the content as well, like I found the number one topic or number one way of my channel growing or sort of category was just the card show content. People like seeing the card show content. It works both ways. Like, people love seeing card show content, but then it also helps in the card show growth. I know personally, I don't know how much he'd attribute it to this, but I know when the Melbourne Card Fair not initially started, but when it came out after COVID, it was purely AFL with a little bit of Pokemon. There wasn't even an NBA table. And, we were able to diversify that and add some more. And now it's like a NBA, Pokemon, AFL show. And I know a lot of the people that go to it now, I reckon I've had at least 20 people that have said like, oh, I'm here at the Melbourne Card Fair because I watched your vlog or whatever. So
that's awesome.
I think I think the card show content is great for the growth of the shows, getting people there as well, but also for the channel as well. So I enjoy doing them. Also try to not have too much work behind it. Like, I literally just have a camera on a table mount and just do a point and shoot and just go through the deals, keep it authentic. Like, there will be some stuff where it is a bit more fluid, but when I'm at the show, I still have to do deals. I can't really be having the camera in my hand and just doing everything. I don't have a videographer. It's it's all kind of like that.
All right. So my follow-up question to that is, you do have your camera over your table. It protects you against people doing illegal activities.
Mhm.
And then the other thing that where I've enjoyed your content the most is when you're doing deals with people and you actually point out to them that they're under comp. So, and you spoke about this a little bit earlier about the ethical side of card trading. So can you talk to us about your perspective on that? Like, why do you help people out in that sense? Like, what's your sort of perspective on that when other dealers might be just happy to accept the deal that, you know, had already gone through?
Yeah, like it's tough. Like, and it's tough to put like a specific number on it. Like, obviously, people buy at margins at these shows, and you know, we're here to, not all the time, but we're here to try and make some money. So having like a number in mind where it kind of feels unethical to buy at a certain amount, it is a tough one. Like, I kind of go based off feel just when I buy off someone. At times, like I had an Instagram follower who's bought from me or dealt with me at the shows, and he was listing me this lot, and like he was like, oh, it's $300, but there was like a card in it that was worth like $1,500, and I was like, look, mate, there's margin to be made, but like I can't take it at that price. Like, you know, if you want, if just for you to know that price, like before you decide, like just know that at least it's worth $1,500. And look, we put the price back up a bit more where he was comfortable with, but he was like, I enjoy the channel, I love your honesty, but I'm happy for you to make some money off it. So it's hard. Like, people will go about it that way sometimes, and I do appreciate it as well. But it's also just creating relationships in the hobby, because you know, like when you do something like that, it leaves a good taste in someone's mouth. So they'll want to come back to you, and you know, maybe you didn't make as much money in that deal, but in the next deal you can potentially, or they'll just come to you first. So
Yeah.
I think it's all about building relationships. I think that was definitely one of my big struggles first getting into card shows specifically, because again, YouTube channel and everything's great, but I'm just broadcasting to an open audience. But actually creating like a one-on-one relationship was something I had to learn a bit more and get better at card shows. And I think that does help me skill up in that way. But yeah, I think that's what I do. I've been trying to work on, especially over the last couple of years.
Yeah, look, I think honestly, hats off to you in that space, because not everyone will go about it in that way, and I know that. How can I say this? I think you can have those interactions, capture them on camera, and then put them online to show everyone, like, to the world that you do it. But I can like categorically say I've seen you do that off camera, so this is not something that you just do for clicks. Like, that's the other thing I want to add to that too. So what's your advice about doing deals with people at card shows? Because I've asked a few different people about this, but I do think people go about this, you know, in different ways. So just talk to us about what you think makes a good deal, what your strategies are with people who are maybe being a bit, you know, a bit prickly or whatever. So like, how do you manage all that type of stuff?
It's definitely, again, something that I'm still working on. Like, I definitely found it a couple times in Sydney. Like, I never really had this issue in Melbourne, but like, you know, a couple of people like overvaluing their cards, wanting to do a trade and undervaluing mine, and it was like, you know, don't want to be rude or anything like that, but it's just like the power of saying no sometimes is really important and crucial.
Yeah.
I think generally when it comes to shows, like my number one tip, look, as a dealer, you should have your cards priced, but if you're walking around the show and you're wanting to trade your cards or sell your cards, like, save the time for the dealers out there, or the people even in like the trade areas or whatever. Like, price your cards, know a value at the very least. Like, if you don't know what you want, at least put like a general area of what they've sold for, because I know personally for me, my issue at shows, like you probably see it in this picture, but I don't actually have like a little space here where I buy. Like, a lot of my buying is like right over my showcase. So like that one there is actually where I had a little bit of space, but most of the time I don't actually have space compared to like your other people there who actually buy specifically more so for the entire show. Having that ability to actually know the card prices and then go off them saves you from going through every single card, because I think that can be one of the biggest drawbacks. When someone comes up to your table, I had it a couple of times again in Sydney, where someone came at the table with like 5 boxes of cards, and then once you kind of, instead of like comping every single card, I went through 5 cards that I was keen on, and then when I heard their price, and then I said, you know, what I was thinking, or what comps were, and they were like unwilling to work at that price, that's fine. Like, it just means that you're probably not going to get a deal on the rest of the cards, and it's just going to save you time. So I think having that ability to actually just know the prices of all your cards will save you and the dealer a lot of time, because then you can shop around as well.
100%. That was actually the next thing I was going to say, because I feel like a sort of an unwritten rule I've almost got now is like the number of 10. You need to talk to 10 different people before you get a deal done. And then the other thing I noticed at the last, the one that was at the Marvel Stadium, you were either going to get a deal done or you weren't. Like, people were, you could tell, like, people either wanted your card at that sort of relative price, or they were so far off. You're like, this is never going to happen. And just going back a little bit in terms of your space. So Neon trading cards, I reckon these guys are the ones who do it the best. They literally just have a table. They've got their 2 laptops set up there, and you literally stand there in a queue. You go up to them. Rod sits there and comps them, and then, like, that's your offer. And it's like either a yes or no. Like, I think that is in terms of like process, at a particular card show, I think gold standard's not the right word, but I think that's a really like good way of going about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they did in America as well. It's like these guys don't really focus as much on selling. It's more the buying aspect of it. So yeah, they'll have the big flashy signs like buying, and then people are lined up and they've got the laptop out, like you said. So
there's a lot of people buying at the moment, though. I noticed that the last couple of card shows.
Definitely. Yeah. Like, I think I always talked about this gap between Australia and America in terms of like people buying. And I actually think, we've really kind of closed that gap, with Neon, with Butler Breaks, MJ. Like, there's a lot of people out there who will go to shows and, well, they'll have one showcase out, but they don't really care if anything in that showcase will sell. They just want to buy cards. And I think providing that liquidity for people in Australia is important. It keeps the hobby flowing as well. So it's been really good to see.
Yeah. Just going back to the Dallas card show, did you set up there as a vendor, or are you just going there to buy and sell?
No, I went there pretty much just to sell my cards. I bought a couple cards for my own PC, and went through the bargain boxes, but I didn't really buy anything high end to flip. I just found with America, I don't know, maybe it's something I've got to revisit, but I feel like you've got to pay a bit stronger there. You can't pay the same rate as what you would down here in Australia, because in America, you've got a lot of repackers there who can buy at 95 to 100% versus here where it's much different. So I found that hard, and that's why when I saw a PC card, I saw a Jeremy Lin auto that I've been going for. I just paid full price for it, and I was happy to pay it. So I didn't really go in there trying to buy cards to sell down here. I don't know if I would go too well, because people here want to pay a little bit lower, I feel.
And did you go there with the impression to sort of get a feel of the environment? Maybe in the future you'll set up at an international card show?
I don't know if I'd set up at Dallas. I think I would, if I did set up, it would just be to sell cards. Like, I probably wouldn't go there to try and like buy cards off people, but I probably would go there to sell. But I do have a few connections that I've made like before Dallas that I sold to in Dallas. And if I ever went back again, I'd probably just go straight to them. Like, again, it's building that relationship again, like where you just, I actually did this on the first day. Like, everyone was buying, and I was like, who do I go to? Who do I go to? And my usual buyer, he was coming in later in the day. So I ended up going with the only person in the room that I actually knew. It was Deal Me Slabs. And he's on YouTube as well. He does a lot of show content. But I went to him, and I don't think he would pay necessarily the strongest, but it was because I probably trusted him the most watching his content. So I think I would, if I went back there, I probably would just go there to walk around and just sell to the people I know, and then just experience it, but not really, to vend there. I think it's just an extra expense that I don't really need.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. We've segued so hard here. I need to try and remember where we're at. The other thing I want to talk to you about too is the support from your wife. So tell us about how crucial it is to have the support from your wife to be a successful YouTuber, Matt's Card Shop, and also your card cases.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'd understand as well with your family and your kids and stuff like that. Like, It's tough. Like Jazz has been incredible. Like we support each other's passions. Like a few years ago, Jazz was training for an Ironman, which she ended up doing, but a lot of like
Yeah,
early
wow.
mornings and trainings that we did together. I ended up not doing the full Ironman. I ended up doing a half Ironman, but like we've always had shared hobbies with each other, which has been great.
Yeah.
I think like towards the end of the year last year, she was definitely like, no more card shows. I don't want to do any more, all this sort of stuff. But
From
I
an
think,
outsider, she seems very dedicated to you, man, in that space. Like, I would
yeah,
say, yeah, she goes over and above. Yeah. Yeah. Not
yeah,
that
she
I'm
does.
team Jasmine or team Matt, by the way. It's just like an outside observation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like honestly at the shows. Like I had Melbourne Card Fair and she had something else on, and people were like, "Where's Jazz?" and all this sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Collect Fest Sydney, like I have so much trust in her, like selling my
Yeah.
cases. She knows everything. She knows how to change the locks. Like she can take everything without me having to guide her. She's incredible. Like it's yeah, like I said, at the end of last year, she was probably like getting a bit tired of it, but we've kind of changed our mindset in terms of like both of us working as much as we can whilst we're young, whilst we don't have kids, setting ourselves up so that we can have like a better work-life balance because we both do the same job, which is insanely mentally and physically taxing. So I think we both have the idea that like we want to enjoy our lives a bit later on, and like why not work hard now? So yeah, she's been massive for me. Like I still haven't done a show solo yet. I was planning on doing one at the Melbourne Card Fair, but I ended up having my cousin help me. So my cousins have been great as well, helping me out.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I didn't do it solo because that show was pretty crazy as well.
That'd be
So
hard work. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I
So
don't know how some people do it solo.
I actually think this is a real thing in terms of hobby success because Tyson Beck came on a couple of weeks back and he was saying that his wife helps him do the shipping. Like
Yeah.
that's insane. I actually can't believe that's a huge amount of commitment from your partner to help you out with your business. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not a small ask. Like imagine how many parcels he'd be doing over every release. Like that's
Yeah.
amazing. So I think there's something to be said there about your partner supporting you in this sort of side of the world because I think without that sort of partner support, you wouldn't be able to succeed. I think that's my 2 cents on all of that for sure. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like I've probably slacked off the last few shows, but definitely the first like 4 or 5 shows that I did, I always got a bunch of flowers after each show, and I always wrote on a note saying on to the next show. But I get like little gifts after each show, and I've got I'm looking at it right now. I've got like a Statue of Liberty Lego sort of structure up there that I got her after a show once as well. So always try to show appreciation in that way. And yeah, she's a massive help. There's definitely no way or no chance that Matt's card shop succeeds or moves forward.
Yeah. All right, tell us your funniest card show story, and then we'll move on to something a little bit different.
Funniest card show story. I don't know if I've really had funny. I'll tell you a bad one because again, this is like on the spot. So
this gets better clicks anyway, Maddie. So this is going to work out totally fine. Yeah.
I won't say who it is, but last year I was wanting to buy a card, and I've dealt with these guys before in the past, and I think they know I've got a YouTube channel, and look, I'm somewhat in it for the money or whatever, and I've probably done well on a couple of their cards, not massively, but I've done well flipping a couple of their cards. And they had priced one of their cards, and I was like, "Yep, I'm going to take that. I'll buy it." And then he like looks at it, and then he was like, "Oh no, that's not the price. Let me look at like eBay prices, sold prices, whatever at the moment." And I was just like, oh, "Okay, I'm not a confrontational person at all," so I was like, "Okay, that's fine." And then he goes to like eBay solds and then looks at it, and then he went like 20 to 30% above that, and he's like, "Oh, here's the price." And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, I'll pass on that." And yeah, again, I'm not a confrontational person, but I just take notes in my own head, and I'm just like, yeah, not for me. And I know people have had problems with them as well in the past. Yeah,
right, off the air, I'm going to ask you who this was because I'm actually I'm genuinely curious about this.
Curious, yeah.
Alrighty, you're a Houston Rockets supporter.
Yeah.
All right, talk to us about the Houston Rockets. Where are you? Are you happy with them this year? Are you sad? Like, where are you at?
I've really kind of drifted off NBA the last sort of month. I can kind of get the NBA fatigue as the season's gone on, but look, I've been tracking it like here and there in terms of watching certain games. I think we're a very unhappy team at the moment. Like, I don't like to use the term, but we're very bipolar. Like, we have good and bad moments. Like, we could look like one of the top three, top four teams in the NBA. Then all of a sudden, we're like the unhappiest team and we're losing to scrub teams. But I think a massive shift in what we needed was Fred obviously getting injured, doing his ACL, but just Reed starting. I think we're 9-2 when he does start games, and Ime's been preferring Tari Eason. Like, Tari's great, but
that's a philosophical decision though. Like, he's literally not playing Shepherd because of the defensive inadequacies. Like, I think it's as simple as that. Like, that guy is like defense first all the way. Like,
yeah,
it's as simple as that. There's nothing more that needs to be said about that. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. And like Reed, obviously numbers don't always correlate. Like, his steal numbers are crazy, but I know he overplays and gambles a little bit in the passing lanes. But yeah, we just need a point guard. Like, we just can't have Armin's a great player, but he's a wing. In my opinion, he's a wing. And like, for him to be playing point guard was great. I know he played point guard in Overtime Elite when he was, just before the NBA. But in the NBA, I feel like the importance of like a passing point guard is pretty important at the moment. Like, it's very high compared to where it was. It's about like point centers, point forwards, all this sort of stuff. I think point guards are actually very important now.
100%.
I think Reed just for whatever he lacks defensively, I think you just got to kind of go past that because he provides a lot offensively for our team.
So you're more interested to talk about Reed Shepherd than any other player on the Rockets at the moment. Is that the kind of the gist? Yeah.
I can talk about anyone you want.
No, I'm really happy to talk about Reed Shepherd. Like, that's not. I was surprised that you brought him up first, but I think he's great to talk about. So, all right, Reed Shepherd, rate him as a hobby prospect. So you've given us the NBA analysis. Now give us like the hobby analysis. Is he a buy, a hold, or a sell for you at the moment?
Look, I actually bought a couple nice reads at Collect Fest Sydney. I probably wouldn't be holding him long term. Like, that's a gorgeous card there, the Gold Kaboom.
That's insane. That is so good. Yeah. It's like throwback to the originals, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, there's not many players I would say, hold for the next 5 to 10 years. Like, Wemby will probably be the only player that I can think of off the top of my head, and maybe Anthony Edwards. Those would probably be the only two players that I can think of that I'd be like, yep, these players under 25 years old, hold them for the next 5 to 10 years. I think Reed is going to be a great guard, pushing all-star. I don't know about all-NBA, but I do want to see him have a sustained period starting at point guard because, he has these flashes, and I think bringing him off the bench, it's just been really inconsistent for him. But you can see when he starts, like, the Rockets just look like a better team. And look, I'd say in the short term, I don't mind him because, he hasn't had that sustained period starting like I was saying before. But once we kind of see that, maybe you can see a little boost in his prices, but more so in the short term. I probably wouldn't be holding him in the medium to long term.
Yeah.
Because people just focus on the next group of rookies. Like, everyone's looking at Con and Cooper at the moment. So then we're going to look at, the Banser, Boozer, Peterson, all those sorts of players. Like, I think the attention will just shift as the years go on.
I think positionally too, he's a little bit challenging because essentially he's in the same, 10-year period as Cade Cunningham, Ja Morant. I think that's really challenging for him. And like, me personally, Ja is down so far at the moment. I'd probably take a dip on Ja versus taking a dip on Reed Shepherd at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's not a dig at Reed Shepherd. I just think that, Cade Cunningham in particular, I think that's almost like to the point of a can't miss sort of purchase at the moment, just because of how solid he is. And he's on Detroit, which is generally not like a very well collected team, but his price at the moment are like very, very solid at the moment. So maybe you could actually make the argument that you've missed the window because he's already peaked already. Like that actually could be the conversation. I wanted to run this past you actually. So I had Ryan from Gemrate on, and the episode only dropped late yesterday, so it's entirely possible you didn't hear this. So when he came on about 12 months ago, he made this claim about Steph Curry using market cap data that he was like one of the most undervalued players in the hobby. And then scooting forward basically 12 months, his total market cap went up about $80 million. So Ryan was like on the money in a really significant way. So I said to him, what's his next prediction for market cap and like moving into the future? So he actually said two names. He said Kevin Durant and he said Anthony Edwards. So I want to talk to you about Kevin Durant from the perspective that you're a Houston Rockets aficionado, so you would have seen a lot of his games, and then you just touched on Edwards. So let's go back to those two and talk about that, because I'm fascinated in what Ryan has to say, in that he's a really smart guy, and I think it's always good to listen to smart people.
Yeah, I think with KD's a very interesting one. Like he's probably the greatest scorer of all time in terms of his versatility. Like he probably won't
just a pure scorer.
Yeah, pure scorer. I think the issue with KD is like the likability for him with that whole Golden State move. So KD's prices have dropped a little bit since the off season, because I know I was able to sell a couple of his rookie autos, and I feel like I saw someone list a KD auto the other day, and I was like, $500 for a KD rookie auto. And then even Cherry at Collectfest had a Letterman KD rookie auto for like $600, and I was like, oh, that's really cheap. And I was like, oh, that's actually the going rate. So look, that might be actually KD being undervalued, but my issue with KD is I think it's his likability, and I think he's sort of say that I feel like I see a lot of, maybe it's because I'm a Rockets fan, I have a lot of like Rockets social media, but it seems like he's much more what's the word, like seems like he's more giving to the fans at games now. Like he signs a lot from what I see, compared to like LeBron. I'm trying to think who else is quite reluctant, but like it seems like he's very giving of his time now. I don't know if that's maturity as he's aged and everything like that, but
100%.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like he's always, I thought he would be quite like recluse and like kind of standoffish, but from what I see in the Rocket social media, it seems like he's always kind of giving time. So that's my only issue with KD. It's more the likability, and then people going like, oh, his only championships were with Golden State, and people referring back to that. But
I'll push back on that though, man. I think if you go into that environment and win a championship working with Draymond Green, that's not an easy task to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's been proven over now, to the point that the Warriors were looking to trade Green.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I honestly think like as a player purely, like he is undervalued for what he's done. It's just more the likability. And that's kind of why I've always felt the same about Harden. Again, it might be the same because I'm a Houston fan, but for what Harden's done, I feel like he should be up there as well. But I think people just don't like Harden because of the foul baiting, and then like him not being a playoff performer. So I've always kind of felt the same with Harden. So yeah.
I think my take on this, and again, this is what I said on the last episode, so I'll just go through this really quickly. For me, it's not a short-term purchase. I think where this will work out really well for people is in the 20-year period. So if you're buying them now for $500 and $600, I think they're the type of cards that you look back and go, like, why were they selling for that? The other stipulation to put onto this conversation too is, so look at this, it's up on the screen at the moment.
Yeah.
You can't say every single Kevin Durant card is a buy. So the total population on this is 28,000. I think it's fine. If you pick up a couple of these, like, it's totally fine. But I think where you're really going to look at something that is genuinely scarce and is also, so for example, okay, this is not the best example because that's the value and that's so high. This is the one I was looking at. So this is currently trading at 1,600. I think that's the type of thing you buy that, you put it into the vault, and you come back to it in 20 years, and you've done yourself like a real thing. And so segueing into the next one, which is Anthony Edwards, and again, going back to what Ryan was saying, he doesn't have time to wait 20 years. So the one he's really interested in at the moment is Anthony Edwards. How is he going to be moving in the next 6 to 12 months? So what's your viewpoint on that?
Well, I think the thing with Edwards is obviously he needs to win a title, but I think with Ant, he potentially could be the next face of the NBA. Like I know for Americans as well, like Wemby, Jokic, Giannis, they're all international players, but I think the NBA is really looking for an American to be the next face, and I think that's why Ant does seem like a very safe investment. I
struggle so hard with that. I think you're right, by the way, but like in my head, I'm like, why are people buying Edwards when you can buy Jokic at the moment? But I think you've actually just encapsulated that immaculately. You can't say it any better. So yeah, well done. Yeah.
I think the thing that was scary with Ant, and it was definitely in like college as well, but I don't know if you remember, people were like, Ant, I don't know how long Ant's going to play in the NBA for. He actually doesn't seem too committed. He seems like he's more of a football person.
Really?
And like, yeah, it was a massive thing. Like it was like football or NBA, and a lot of people were like, "Geez, it's risky with Ant because he really loves football." And I think
he's got too much child support now, man. There's no way he's stepping away from those contracts to go and play football. No way.
Well, I think he just kind of realized that, he's at that level. Like he's kind of locked in at that MJ sort of territory where he's like, I think that's where he's kind of locked in. I have no fear about him moving to football anymore, but that was a massive thing, like coming out of college as well, because that was the COVID period. So there's a lot of things flying around. Obviously, when you're drafting a player, a lot of things will come out. So he would have they might have said to him, like, would you go to the NFL if you had the chance? And he probably was like, why not? And people just took that the wrong way. So yeah, it was definitely a massive thing, and I can see why.
So he's already up to 4 kids.
4 kids, 4 different women. Jeez, Ann, what are you doing?
Crazy. Sorry, I interrupted you. Please keep going.
I mean, I don't know. I've talked about in like the last few videos, but there is one player I feel like I would be comfortable in buying long term if I'm allowed to share.
Please.
I'm big into Bill Russell. Like,
yeah, right.
Bill Russell, top 5 player all time.
Yep.
Passed away 4 years ago, whatever it was. 11-time champion. People talk about Wilt, but like Bill Russell is better than Wilt. And like, if you go through a lot of the whole top 5, top 10 lists, people always debate Bill Russell, obviously with the era that it was. But I think Bill Russell is like the probably the 5th or the 6th best player all time. And the fact that, again, he's not signing anymore, I think his autos are very cheap. You can find an on-card autograph now for like $400 to $500, and I think that's quite cheap relative to like your Currys. An on-card Steph Curry auto is now like $1,500 plus, maybe like $1,000 plus. But and then you've obviously got Kobe, which you're looking at minimum $2,500 to $3,000 plus. So I've always felt Bill Russell was severely underrated relative to where the rest of the top 10 are.
I don't even think that's a controversial statement, to be perfectly honest. I think the resume that he has, he's just chronically undervalued. I think the problem with him is the translation point, because how does success in the 60s translate to success in 2025? And I think that's where people have that massive disconnect. I think the other thing too is, like, I would call myself someone who is somewhat of an NBA aficionado, but how many games have I watched of Bill Russell? I can count them on literally one finger. Like, to get footage of this guy, it's virtually impossible. Like, and I've actually purchased DVDs from overseas and had them shipped to Australia so that I can watch him play. Like, that's how much effort you actually need to go to. You can watch highlights of him, and there's definitely more highlights of him sort of being retrieved from archive footage, and they're restoring it and they're releasing it. So that's definitely happening. But I don't know. I think my problem with like buying Bill Russell is that how much do you expect it to go up, and then what should you be buying? And actually, I think this is the same question for Anthony Edwards. It's like, you can't just say every Edwards card is worth purchasing. So like, can you please be a bit more specific into terms of what Bill Russell cards you're looking at purchasing and why that is, I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, I know it's personal taste. I just love autos, so I'm just going
Yeah.
after his on-card autographs. I know he's got a Kaboom, which obviously Kabooms are going nuts at the moment, and I think it's just over $1,000, the Bill Russell Kaboom, in a PSA 9. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but like for me, personal taste, like I just love autos specifically. So I've got 4 of his on-card autos, and I've kind of just stashed them away personally. So I agree with you there though as well. Like I know people are going to be like, I've never watched Bill Russell, but I think the tick for him obviously is playing on the Boston Celtics, one of the biggest teams in the NBA. So Boston fans at the very least gonna love him, and I think longer term, people will understand how much he did for the game as well.
I don't think that they're dirt cheap though. I would say actually, I'm surprised that for a veteran. So I'm not too sure if you can read this too well. So that's a raw Kaboom for $535. There's another one for $700 raw, $733 raw. A PSA 9 sold for $690. That's probably the one that I like the most so far. Oh, I like this one better. PSA 9 for $372, $518 for a 9, $300. Let's just call that a raw. It's been authenticated, but that's nothing to. I would say that's, for me, that's a positive sale for that. I would say that's a really good price for someone who's been out of the game for so long.
Yeah, and I think that's the only Kaboom that he's got as well. So it's not like he's got multiple years running like a lot of the players do nowadays. It's just that's the only one. I just don't know how hard they are to grade. I don't know that year too well. I know like last year Kaboom, like there were print lines everywhere. They were off-centered, but I don't know how great that one is specifically.
Yeah. What about Anthony Edwards? What Edwards cards would you recommend to purchase for people?
Again, I'm always someone who's just into autos. Like as a collector, I just love autos. I know some people, specifically will go for like the NT RPA, Floors RPA, but I just like autos generally. I mean, the annoying thing is a lot of his sticker autos he has signed a little bit off it, but I do like the autos more so as a collector. I always found as a dealer, selling and moving numbered prisms of rookies much harder here. Like in America, I don't think you'd have an issue, but in Australia, I always struggled moving numbered prisms, and people always said that like prisms were the things that people collected. But even for me as a collector, like when I first opened a box of Prism, I got annoyed because I knew there was only 1 or 2 autographs per box. But again, I'm more of an autograph collector, so everyone's different when it comes.
No, 100%. No.
Yeah.
All right. I got a stat for you, and you might not be surprised by this, but I got absolutely roasted on Twitter about this. So this is from Bobby Marks, at Bobby Marks42.
Yeah.
The leaders in fast break points this season: LeBron James, Maxey, Giannis, Kawhi Leonard, and Donovan Mitchell. So, like, I'm just going to start off here and say I can't believe that LeBron is leading the league in fast break points. I'm a LeBron supporter, so like before I say anything else, just to like preface that, but I find him so frustrating to watch because I find his application to the game is kind of at about 60%. I never find him like 100% all the time or anything, and I find him like particularly on defensive rotations is not fantastic. So for him, and I sort of view fast break points as an effort stat. So how on earth can you explain this to me? How does this guy lead the league in fast break points?
Cherry picking? No, I have no clue.
I literally said that, and that's what I got roasted for.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I didn't even know about that at all. But I've been talking about the Lakers and LeBron. I think they've actually shown sort of the last 10 to 15 games, they're much better when LeBron's playing like the third option. Like Reeves and Luka as the top 2, I think is the way to go. And obviously LeBron can insert himself. He's a really intelligent basketball player. And when he had that little bit of time off, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, like the Luka Reeves combo was lethal. So I think once he's kind of come to terms that, yes, he's going to have to be the third option and then inserting himself in those aspects, I think that's actually helped the Lakers massively, especially over the last couple of weeks. I think they're on like a 9 or a 10-game winning streak at the time of recording.
So he's been playing backup 5 minutes, which actually I think in some ways that actually makes sense. His body is like Karl Malone. There's no reason he can't play those minutes, and it just frees up so much for Luca and Reeves to do when he's playing that support role 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've just completely cut you off, and then I've just like dropped the ball here. That's totally fine.
All right.
Tops and Fanatics takeover. Where are you at with that?
It's been interesting. I mean, I never really read into it too much because I think that's also another thing where we talk about the negativity in the hobby and all that sort of stuff. Like the first thing you see when Tops came out is like, oh my God, like this is so bad. And it's just like, I just try to focus, stay and try to get my own perspective on things. But I mean, I like what certain things
The
Tops have done.
unlicensed is hard, man. I think that was the problem. Like the first thing that came out was unlicensed, and
yeah.
For whatever reason you don't like it, I think at the end of the day, it's because it's unlicensed. It's as simple as that. Like it doesn't have the team logos on it. They're trying to hide the logos. They Photoshop them off. It's just a very awkward, like weird sort of product. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Panini have actually done well with this as well, because if you look at their previews for the Kabooms that are going to be unlicensed, like it doesn't look like it's unlicensed, but they've chosen photos where you probably wouldn't see the team name or anything like that. So
can I be honest with you though, man? Like they can make it look as good as they want. The reality is still there. It's unlicensed.
I know,
like
yes.
no one cares. No one cares. And I think if those boxes sell at say 200 Aussie for a hobby box, even still, I think you're going to be really difficult to get your money back on them.
Yeah, I mean, like you can see in those top three photos that you've got there, those top three, like Jaime Jaquez, Wemby, like it's very obvious that they don't have the jersey there compared to like what Panini have done. So, look, I think one of the things that I've really enjoyed from Panini from Tops this time round is that I noticed this with soccer because I ripped open a few Topps Chrome soccer boxes a few years ago, but you can pull like some very nice cards like superfractors. You can pull just numbered cards in general from blaster boxes. So they've kind of expanded it to the point where the general person might be able to pull something like, yes, it might be impossible and it's 1 in a trillion or whatever, but you can pull a Con Canipple superfractor, which was pulled out of a blaster. So
that is absolutely a win. I'm 100% with you. Yeah.
Compared to Panini, where it was like, oh, if you open a blaster, you might have the chance to pull a green pulsar out of 25. And it was, at least you kind of know, the floor might be low, but the ceiling is actually ridiculously high. And it's made me want to open like blaster boxes as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I think my observation between Topps and Panini is that the inserts are just in two different spheres. Like I think Panini did a really good job of making collectible inserts, and they also used essentially products to experiment on inserts as to like what was going to work and what wasn't. So the perfect example of that for me is Select. They made heaps of different insert sets and that, and most of them no one collected because they were just frankly no good. But every now and again, they would come up with something, and they also moved inserts around products. I think that worked really well for them in terms of selling different products. I personally haven't liked a lot of the Topps inserts. However, I'm starting to find ones that I'm actually enjoying. So this is the Monsters of the Deep that came out of Topps 3. I think that's an absolute banger. And I think that the artwork is original. They're not ripping off Panini, which I think they've kind of done a couple of times. Like they did that like rip off Downtown card. That's okay. I don't think that's anything to really write home about. But then just moving back to the rest of the cards in this product here. So this is the Con Canapple one, and I wanted to talk to you about this too. So here's Con Canapple here. This guy has just had an absolute hobby ascension. Where are you at with Con Canapple? Are you buying this guy, selling him? Are you getting on the hype train? Are you avoiding it?
I'm just selling it. Like at the Collect Fest Sydney show, I had 3 of his cards. I had an auto, I had a case hit, and I had a numbered card. Like went out on the first day. Like I think being in the hobby for a while now, you just have to ride the wave. And with Knipple, like the reason his prices have gone up massively. Like he's had an incredible season, but it's also the Hornets playing well, and then like Flag being injured, so he's been pushed into the Rookie of the Year favoritism. And he does deserve it. It's like, it's just what's his ceiling at the moment. Like, I think you've got a really nice card of his. I would probably just sell it. I'm such a believer in flag, but then with my theory as well, I would also be trying to sell flag because I feel like the best time to sell is now. But longer term, yeah, look, Knibble's a really nice player and he's obviously surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think with the way his prices have gone up, like the auto I actually had I had the exact same auto about a month ago and it was going for, I think the comp was about 350. I actually sold it to someone for 300 and then at the show last week, I sold it for $650. So his prices based off that have already doubled, maybe a little bit less than that.
Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, how much more has he got to go up? Like,
yeah, definitely.
I'm
I
a very
could not agree with you more.
person with this sort of stuff as well. So,
what was that last bit? Sorry, mate, you just broke up
sorry,
a bit.
I'm more of a conservative person, I'd say, with these sorts of things. So I know some people would probably say like hold a little bit longer, but I'm probably more conservative, and I'll be like, yeah, I would sell now.
No, I think your analysis is spot on because my comparison for that is Jason Tatum. So the year that the Celtics won the NBA Finals, his prices actually went down during the NBA Finals period. And so I think a lot of this pricing is baked into him winning the Rookie of the Year. But often what you'll see is all of the gains have already been made. And then once it gets time to the Rookie of the Year announcement, actually what we'll probably see is him going down. And then moving forward into the future, I think the bigger rookie is going to be Cooper, which I believe in Cooper. And actually, I think he's a fantastic prospect. But then the next rookie class that's coming through, and you were talking about this off the air. So it's the general consensus with this next rookie year is that if you've got a number 5 pick in this coming draft up, it's like having the number 1 pick last year. Like that's how good, the draft is going to be. So I think that's scary when you've got someone like this who people have spent insane amounts of money on. Like I don't understand this. Like how can you spend that much money on a card when he's still very much an unknown NBA prospect? I this stuff gives me headaches. It actually makes me a little bit anxious, to be honest.
There's definitely been worse examples, I feel, like with Con. Yeah, like he's had some crazy sales. I think the 1-of-1 Superfract ended up going for 330 off the top of my head. So
yeah.
I've heard some. I've listened to a few draft podcasts. Like they said, if you combine the last 2 draft, like the upcoming one and the last one, like who would be number 1? A lot of people will still put Cooper Flag as number 1, but like they're just saying it's still an incredible draft class because you could get pick 4, pick 5 and still be happy, like with whoever you get. So obviously the top 3 are Boozer, DeBanza, and Darren Peterson. So I think that's going to actually help the hobby as well because people will want to be collecting these players. I think that Reese Shea year with Stephon Castle, Reed Shepherd was kind of that bridge between Topps and Panini with their licenses. Like Reed was the only one off the top of my head was signing for Panini, and he didn't really have the greatest rookie season. And then Topps, like they had Reese Shea Castle, they were signing, but it was unlicensed. So I think it's going to actually help the hobby with this next draft class. We saw it with the Zion and Jar one, which looking back at the hindsight wasn't that great, but we were all so excited to collect Zion, Jar, RJ Barrett, all these sorts of players. So I think it's going to be big in the next year.
There was a lot of hype behind Zion, to be fair. Like, you weren't the only person. And I actually still think the NBA's like putting promotional money into him. Like I think they really want him to succeed and maybe be the face of the NBA. But yeah, I think, he's problematic to say the least. I think we've got after you.
Yeah, I still remember his first game. Like I was in Tassie on holiday, and like I was so excited to watch him play because obviously he didn't play until January, so he had like 2 months before he was actually able to play his first game. And like, I remember just watching it on my phone. Like I think we were caravanning, and I was like, I just need to watch this game. Like I just want to see what he does because you were just all excited to see.
He's freakish. Yeah. I think we got time to do one more thing. Do you want to do What Not Breakers crashing out, or do you want to talk about Wemby, who's my current NBA obsession?
Let's talk about your obsession.
All right, great. I am becoming more and more like just obsessed with this guy and just spending more time thinking about him. And to preface that, I think obviously it's to do with his size. Like when you just look at him, it's just freakish. But then when you watch him play on the floor, I'm almost at the point now where what can't this guy do on the floor? He can dribble, he can pass, he can shoot, he's got mid-range game, and he's developed a low post game to the point that if they do switch smalls onto him, he'll just go down there and score. Like, he's getting to the point now where how are we going to stop this guy? There's no defensive scheme you can really run to stop him. You can only, hope to slow him down, which essentially was the mantra that was applied to prime Shaq, Jordan for, almost 15 straight years, Hakeem for a 2 or 3 year stretch where you couldn't slow him down. He would just score on anybody. So why aren't we talking more about Wemby? Is he a good purchase to make? What would make you not want to buy into him? Because my hang up with this guy is injury history already. Like, the DVT thing is, for me, it's a bit of a weird one. Like, I don't really understand it. I'd love to hear more about it. And I think just at his general size too, like, how durable is he going to be for the next, say, 10, 15 years? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like, he's definitely a unique athlete. I've seen clips of him doing the splits, but I know a lot of these, like, younger, like, bigger guys, they're much different to these centers that we had in the 80s and 90s. Like, Hakeem was a good example, but we think of, like, a lot of centers in the 80s and 90s, they were just stiff, strong, probably not as mobile. And, like, you see Wemby, Şengün's another one who can do the splits that I've seen as well. Like, you see these players doing the splits, and it's just incredible. But I agree with you. Like, there's probably two things where that put me off about Wemby. We'll say three things. We'll go number one, being a bias. I'm a Rockets fan, and him being drafted to San Antonio, like, I hated that so much. I really wanted to have Wemby on the Rockets, but that didn't happen. Number two, yes, injury history. Centers traditionally don't have the longest careers, but I think Wemby's frame of mind seems to be in the right place. He seems very switched on, taking care of his body. Yes, he's had a couple of injuries to start off his career, but nothing too crazy. But again, the risk that you have with that is you look at, like, someone like Joel Embiid right now. He's, I don't know, what is he, 32, 31, 32? Like, what he is right now is probably the best he's going to be until he retires. Like, he just keeps going down. Like, he can't play half the season anymore. And the history has just shown with these big guys who are heavy on their feet, they don't have the longest careers. So you can talk about Embiid, you can talk about Yao Ming, you can talk about Arvydas Sabonis. There's a lot of players that, even in your time, Bill Walton as well, that just didn't have the longest careers.
Well, I actually think the Bill Walton Embiid comparison is perfect because everyone knew what they were getting going into the draft with Embiid, and that's why he dropped the way that he did. And I think the Walton point is perfect because you just pray that you have this guy on your team. One season he'll be healthy enough to get through the playoffs and he'll give you that championship. That's my sort of take on that, 100%. Just really quickly, you touched on the value of Embiid. He's currently trading at that. I actually don't mind that. So last sold for $440. Peak all time was at $5,700. That was obviously COVID, but a more realistic high price is $2,900. In his rookie year, he was actually trading for about $760, man. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I just wouldn't touch that. I just think he might have a playoff spike if he can actually last till then and play, but I just can't see him playing at an MVP level for the entire season. And now they have games caps, like, for awards and that. Can't really see him making the All-NBA team anymore.
That eliminates him from all awards, definitely.
Yeah, exactly right. And I was going to say the third thing that kind of puts me off about Wemby is his rookie autos are unlicensed. So I always kind of go, which one do I go after? Like, speaking to a few smarter people than me, they like the Mercury, which the Mercuries do have, like, depending on the card itself, they've got his debut jersey in it, or they've got his jersey from his game where he scored 1,000 points. And some people really like Royalty as well. So Royalty is like the higher end set that's going to come out later on in the year. But Royalty, people like Royalty a lot as well with Wemby. So I think that's trying to find the right card more so. And I kind of
To your point, and that's how the market's played out. So these are the top overall sold Wemby cards. Number one at 860,000 is his one of one Nebula. Number two at 528,000 is his Logoman one of one from National Treasures. Number three is his Kaboom one of one green. That's sold for 516,000. And then number four, PSA 9 one of one Black Shimmer for $500,000 again, until we see our first Topps card, which is a one of one for $488,000. Yeah.
And that's the licensed one as well. It's not his rookie one. That's the
Not his
second year
rookie one.
Wemby.
Yeah.
Or it's the third year Wemby, actually. So that's where it's like, where's the growth if people are preferring to get the first licensed Wemby auto. So I think I was kind of more so holding out and being like, I'll just wait until his licensed autos come out and then see where the price normalizes. But it seems like it's just going up regardless. So
yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of excitement around this young man, and I get it. Like, I'm getting swept up in the excitement, and I would say, like, for me, it sort of takes me a lot to get sort of consumed in something that I would consider to be like a pop culture phenomenon, and I think he's just going to take over the league. That's my sort of gut feeling with this guy now, because it's just, what do you do with him? He's just ridiculous. I was lucky enough to actually see him play in real life, and so my all-time memories of seeing athletes is Wemby. I've seen LeBron run into the stadium, and that was amazing, and Russell Westbrook. So that's my top three in-person sort of athlete, seeing someone play basketball, and he's just ridiculous. You can't help but stand there and like have your mouth open looking at him. He's just freakish. Yeah.
And he's got a good system around him. Like, the Spurs are a great organization, which again, like, that's why it annoys me as a Rockets fan.
Could not have been better situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you almost feel like it's rigged in a way, but like, they've got Castle, they've got Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox, they've got a new coach there, Mitch Johnson, I think it is. So like,
a good injury management system too. Like, they were years ahead of player management, but for the whole league, and they've essentially revolutionized that whole thing. Yeah.
Another thing the Spurs do as well is that they actually farm a lot of, their draft process. They don't really do big trades. Like, I can't think of the last big trade that they've ever done. So like, a lot of maybe trading Derek White out, but like, again, like, most of the time they're just, the De'Aaron Fox one would be the one, but like, most of the time they're really just focused on developing their players and doing little additions. They're not trying to change it massively. That's what I've kind of found with the Spurs.
Yeah, definitely. Just in the group chat, we've got here Monchi2805. Injuries is the only thing that's stopping him. And have you seen him kick the net yet?
Kick the net? No, I haven't.
It's just
sorry. He swung his. Yeah, I have seen that. No, I have seen that.
I think the conditioning of the athletes now is just on a different level altogether. Like, Kareem used to do yoga, and that was an outlier. He was, the only guy in the league. Now, like you said, you've got Şengün doing the splits. Like, it's just a... All right, man. Final thoughts. What have you got for us?
No, nothing much. Like, obviously, we got Collect First Melbourne this weekend. I'm very keen for it. If you guys are down, come say hello to Russ and I. Russ will be walking around. Don't know what he'll be doing. Maybe some sort of buying challenge. But I'll be there set up, ready to make some deals. Yeah. Come say hi.
So, Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show today and giving us your time so freely. It's really, really appreciated. And to everyone out there listening at home, have a wonderful day, and we will catch you next time.